Hi, my name is Talia. I'm a staff member at Discovery, and I'm going to help you do your homework today. Okay, so in this question, it gives you a snippet of code, and you're supposed to select all statements. It gives you 5 statements, and you have to select all of them that are true about the output of this code. So let's start out just by breaking this code down piece by piece. So this right here, this beginning df, that just says that we're working within a data frame called df. Pretty standard for like all row selection commands. This here, this df subject, this indicates that you're working, you're just like looking at the column subject in df, and you have to say df again to indicate where subject comes from. And then here, this double equals, you probably learned in class, single equals is for setting a value to something, or like initializing a variable or something, and double equals is for comparing values, seeing if they're equal to each other. And then right here, this string called stat is what we're comparing the context and subjects to. So let's go through and see what this will do. We have a data frame. It's got a lot of columns, and one of them is called subjects, right? So when you do this, you go to df subject, it kind of highlights this column, and then it goes through every single row to see if the contents in this column are exactly equal to the string stat. So if it says exactly stat in here, it'll keep the row, it'll keep the whole row. If it's not, if it's something else, it'll drop it from the output. So when you run this, it'll only show the data frame with the rows that have stat in their subject column. So now let's go through all these statements here and see which one of them match the description I just gave. So first one, the output will contain only the subject column. This is a little bit tricky because some people think that it'll kind of isolate the subject column because you're indicating it here, but that's not true, actually. It's just keeping all the rows that have stat as their subject. So it still has all the information, all the other columns for those rows. So the data frame still looks really similar to how it was originally. It just has less rows in it. So this one's actually false. Cross that out. Okay, the second one, the output will contain all columns. That's kind of what I just said. It'll still keep all information about the rows that have stat in their subject. So this is actually true. C, the output will contain all rows of the original course catalog data set. Oops, I wrote that wrong. The output will contain all rows of the original course catalog data set. This is also false because, unless every single subject in the University of Illinois is stat, every single class is in a stat subject, then this is not going to be true because there's a bunch of other subjects that the classes can be. It can be Asian American Studies, English, political science, anything. So if that subject isn't the same as stat, it's not going to keep that row, so obviously it's not going to have all the rows in it. The output will only have rows with stat. That's exactly true. That's kind of the opposite of what I just said. So yeah. And then E, nothing. An error will occur. It says something about the data frame isn't defined, which you just know that's false because in the question they're like, df is a data frame that's defined. And so you're like, this is just a throwaway. You're gonna ignore that one. So yeah, the 2 big things. It keeps all columns, but it only keeps rows with stat. And that's how you can look at the output of this row selection statement.